Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Aligned. Today, we are getting up close and personal. I feel really intimate with you right now. I don't normally record or work in the evenings, and if you can't tell, it's lower light at the moment. It's gray, it's gloomy, it's rainy, and I have the house to myself. And I do find that as a second line, if you know your human design and you have a 2 in your profile, you can probably relate, but I'm a hermit. My mind is a hermit. The way that I think, my creativity, it really requires solitude. And if I don't have solitude for a while, the moment that I get it, it's like boom, downloads, things to do, to write, to create, to share. And that's what's happening right now. So I'm recording this intro and I'm not apologizing for my quirkiness. All right. We're here for it. My name is Erin, and I'm one of your hosts here at Aligned. And the episode that I will be sharing with you today is one of my favorites. Honestly, all the episodes where Bee and I record together and we just end up having no direction, no plan, and we just start talking and talking about whatever's coming up in our life, whatever we're processing, those episodes always end up being the best. And this was one of them. So we recorded this episode. It would have been maybe like March of last year, 2024. And the topic of conversation is relationships. So B is a manifesting generator, and she has a partner who is a manifestor, and very, very, very different energy types. And so when you bring human design into your relationship, again, it's not a system that's going to tell you that this energy type is compatible with this energy type or this profile and that profile. Yes, there are places where you might be able to see harmony. You might be able to see potential for conflict, but it's a system that kind of sets you free in that it's all about awareness. If you can understand yourself and how you operate, and you can understand your partner and how they're designed to operate, then it's no longer this game of like, I do things this way, you have to do things this way. It's simply about this is who we are, and can we accept that? Can we love that? And can we work with each other's strengths, weaknesses, differences, similarities to find more harmony? And again, use our differences for that polarity and use our shared values or our similarities to build that resonance, that friendship, that trust. So again, it's such an empowering system for so many different reasons. It's funny because at the time of this episode, I was exploring a new relationship that I'm no longer exploring, or I should say that relationship has transformed drastically. I'm also a fourth line, so profiles always have 2 numbers. We call them lines, and each number has a specific archetype. So as I mentioned earlier, I have that 2 second line hermit energy about me, and I'm also a fourth line, which is the opportunist. These are the networkers. These are people who are really here to build deep, meaningful, intimate relationships. And it's like when people come into our world, there's no distinction between friend and family. It's like it's all or nothing. And it's always said that we're the profile lines who can stay friends with our exes and still have meaningful relationships, whereas someone with a 3 in their profile line probably has to have like a hard break with certain relationships. They need to completely just break the bond. And that has absolutely been true for me. So the relationship that I speak about in this episode has turned into a incredibly close friendship, business relationship. I adore this human for who he is. But yeah, not as an intimate partner. And yeah, it was an incredible period of like, I learned so much about myself through this relationship that, most of it had been developed over long distance, which I mentioned a few times in this episode. And then when we finally did come together, I learned so much about my emotional wave. And I have a collective emotional wave. For anyone who has emotional authority, there's 3 different kinds of emotional waves: tribal, collective, and individual. And understanding the type of wave can really help you understand how your emotional system works and kind of like how to work with it and what to look out for. And so much of my emotional wave is built on expectations and having expectations about things that build up and build up and build up, and sometimes are not always met. And when that expectation is not met, there's a big crash. And I definitely experienced this in this relationship, especially because so much of it was built from afar and kind of fantasizing and idealizing parts about that partner and ignoring the red flags, or not even red flags, but the things that I had seen and that I had known when we first met and came together, all of the little signs that told me this could never actually be something more. It's easy to, again, ignore those things and hold on to just the bright and shiny stuff when you're not actually confronted with it on a day-to-day basis. So learned a lot through that relationship. So grateful for it. I've evolved so much because of it. I always say relationships are our biggest catalysts because they force you to look in the mirror and to look at all the stuff that you don't want to see, the pimples, the wrinkles, right? And I don't say that because your partner is literally looking at you saying, honey, you're getting old. I think some gray hairs are coming in. I just mean that they really do show us the darker sides of ourselves, and they show us our wounds and the things we've been suppressing. And it's not always easy. It's never easy. It's definitely not super fun. It can be, though, when you know how to work with these aspects of yourself and you know how to integrate them and you know what to do with them when they show up. And that's just the good old human experience. So, without further ado, I will let you guys jump into this episode, and just know that depending on when you are watching this, Bee and I will have a update for all of you on what's happening in our current lives, because there's, again, been a lot of shifts, a lot of change, a lot of exciting new developments. And that's what we like to do here, is really let you guys into, our lives, the intimate stuff, the raw stuff, the real stuff. The online space is just getting so icky and superficial in so many ways and just flashy. And I don't even know how to exist in that space. I only know how to do this and be myself and connect and be weird. So that's what I'm doing. I also think I'm feeling this way because I've just been in like 3 days of deep emotional low in my luteal phase, dealing with like an infestation of unidentified bugs in the house that were only biting me. And now that I'm coming out on the other side, it's like everything is sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. So that's what you're getting today. And that's it. See you guys on the other side.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in follicular, so I've really got into like a rhythm recently, or I'm really starting to like understand how this goes in alignment with design too. And it's like, all right, follicular is content creation, it's social, it's getting all of these like structure. It's like letting my active mind but structured like environment go together. And then it's like ovulation is like recording and going live and things like that. Whereas luteal, it's like, don't work. Don't work.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy how valuable it can be, especially when you start to, again, but it's same with human design. once you start to, also, hold on, wait, we have to, I don't know what I'm doing. I have my microphone turned on and it's across the table. Um, but yeah, it's the same with human design. Like when you understand your patterns or your cycles, then you start to learn your unique language for them. So as you said, it's like, okay, follicular phase is for content creation and da 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 da. But I think everybody also has kind of like their own unique variation of what that looks like. And it's the same with human design. Like you might have a lot of people with sacral authority, but the voices of the sacral sound different. So we all get to go through this beautiful experimentation process to figure out like what is the roadmap, but then what does that look like for me?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, yeah, I spoke about this earlier. It was just like piecing these bits together because, like you said, it's not going to be that way every single month. I'm not going to wake up in follicular every single month either and be like, today's the day to record content. And I know that today was the day because of my sacral, but also my authority because I was feeling neutral and open. And then it was like, okay, can I do this? I open up a list that has ideas and I'm like, ooh, I'm activated. And I literally
Mm.
recorded like 5 reels. I made 3 carousels. I edited like 4 other random, B-roll reels. And I was like, what the hell? And this is it with the manifesting generators, right? Like this is why now I'm starting to learn like luteal. If I don't feel like it and my like bleed, I won't because I can get that much done in one day. What's
Yeah.
the point in pushing it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. How do you flow then with your like when you're slowing down because obviously like we move at very different paces and like work very differently, but is it even more so like for you when you're in luteal? Like, does it make a difference?
Yeah, I would say I'm still learning. And I think part of this goes because my hormones have been not in balance for so long after being on the pill for so long, getting off hormonal birth control, not getting my period for 2 years. Like, I almost still feel like I'm learning. And it's sometimes, yeah, it's still sort of different every month. So I'm aware of it, but I'm also still sort of experimenting. I definitely think the social aspect is a lot stronger during follicular and ovulatory, and then it starts to get a little bit more introverted through like luteal. But I find sometimes during my luteal I'm really productive when it comes to computer work or getting tasks done. um yeah.
Articulation and words and all of that, and that actually is the best time to write is in luteal because we're in our intuition. So that makes sense because that creative aspect of being able to like look at information and work like there was something I read recently where they were like do a lot of your admin stuff during luteal because you can sit back, but
Mm.
also the writing, like the way that you write, like that's I would only be able to produce stuff like that, even like to a little bit of the caliber that you write at in luteal, not in my follicular because my brain is like it's too fast. So that makes so much sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, you're exactly right. Like that's the stuff that's second nature to me. And
And it's funny, isn't it? This is
check it
like
out.
for women and the women that are listening, even the men that are listening, and we're gonna get into like these pieces later. Um, Everything is an experiment. Like when you come back through the like relearning and unlearning process, whether that's menstrual cycles, relationships, human design, everything is an experiment. What happens if I push this button? What happens if I make this decision? What happens if I work according to my menstrual cycle? What happens if I speak my truth in my relationship? It's all learning, it's all experimentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we dive in?
How's your hair, by the way? Are you still also shedding?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's weird because I had extensions in. So I've had the extensions in for like a year and 3 months. And when I was reading up on it, it was saying because a lot of my hair was in the extensions, and your hair does shed daily anyway. Um, what Google was, and I mean, this is Google, guys. So what Google said was when you take your extensions out, your hair can shed a little bit because the hair that's been trapped or the hair that's weak because of like the extensions will then fall out. So I've had that, and then I started with rosemary oil. Like I bought a tonic, a rosemary oil, put that in, and it started to shed. So I was like, now I'm terrified to oil again.
Okay, well, I have a perspective on this that I think will segue very beautifully into our topic today. And all credit to Leia on this one because Leia has experienced different bouts of hair loss in her past. And, she's also a little experimenter and always looking for what the root cause is. And I also always believe when something happens, it's so much more than what meets the eye. And there's always deeper layers behind it. But would you say the shedding for you started like increased more recently?
Yeah, it's literally been the past 5 days.
Okay, so I also, obviously, I've been sharing a lot about this. I've been experiencing kind of significant hair loss as of recently, and it started when I came to Puerto Rico, and it started sort of like increasing over time. And again, I went down a rabbit hole of is it my hormones? Am I having a mineral deficiency? Is it the shampoo and conditioner that I'm using? And Leia shared with me an article. Have you ever heard of German New Medicine?
No.
It's a modality, it's a whole practice of science, similar to like Louise Hayes and her process of with every ailment, there's an underlying root cause. And the root cause that they use for hair loss is something called a separation conflict. So, a conflict around any sort of separation or lack of separation. It could be separation from a partner, it can be separation from a job, it can be separation from a place, a lifestyle. It can also be lack of separation, not receiving enough, right? So I read this whole article and I sat with it because I was like, well, that feels significant if this sort of started when I came to Puerto Rico. There's a lot of different routes for me that this could have been. It could be separation from my life in Bali, but no, because that there's no conflict there. That is easy breezy beautiful. And then I was thinking it could be lack of separation since coming to Puerto Rico. I'm living in my brother's house with one of my best friends, and we spend most of our time together. And as someone who needs a lot of separation, maybe it's that. But still, it doesn't feel like a pressing conflict within my body, right? So then it gets juicy. So Leia sends me a Spotify playlist to just a heart opening frequency album. And she's like, I meditated to this and I got so many insights about, again, my hair loss and what it was related to. So I did that. And as someone with emotional authority, I don't know if maybe you can agree with this. Unlike Leia, who's splenic, I don't get as many of those like impulsive pings in the moment. It's rare that I'm in a meditation and I just all of a sudden like go with the intention of understanding something and then it comes. My breakthroughs, my insights come more so over time. So I went into the meditation knowing that, being like, okay, I'm releasing expectation. I might not receive any answers right now, but I'm just going to like open up the space for something to come in. So I did the meditation one evening, did it again in the morning. Then I go to my dear friend Anand's house. She is an older woman who's just incredibly the reason I know her is she started coming to Ruby and I our breathwork sessions here in Puerto Rico. And she's just one of those like wise women that I find so much value being in her energy because she has all this life experience and she's done so much work on herself. And it's so calming to be around her. And it's just that beautiful, like womanly sister time. So I spent the evening with her a few nights ago, and I started telling her about this. And I was sharing, okay, there's a lot of different separation conflicts that it could be within my life. It could also be with this partner this long distance partner that I have, but also I don't think it's that, because that feels really easy. It's one of the things where it feels effortless. So I don't know. I don't think it would be that. And she says to me, she goes, Erin, I meant to message you the other day because this popped into my mind. Do you think that by calling this partner of yours your Latin lover, that you are creating almost like you're denying what this relationship really is or how you really feel about this? Because the way that I've heard you talk about him, it's a lot more than just that. And I kind of sat there and I was like, oh, okay. Because I already realized, like, since I came to Puerto Rico, I had this idea in my head that this partner was going to be just this little chapter that I was going to have, that I would write about in my novel years to come. This fling, this rendezvous, this adventure. And then it kind of turned out to be more than that. And when I came to Puerto Rico, I found, oh, we're still in touch. Oh, this is intensifying. Oh, we're getting to know each other deeper and better. And that caused so much conflict within my body. And what I feel like is going on is it's a conflict between my head and my heart. A conflict between what I know and, my authority living my design has shown me, hey, this is something that you're going to further explore, and the universe is conspiring to make it very easy for this to happen. But then my head just continuing to kick in and tell me all of these reasons why, no, but that doesn't make sense, or like fear coming in, or this doesn't match the idea that you had in your head, or whatever narrative it can be. And it really has been this constant, what I feel, conflict between the two. And for me, I was just like, it makes so much sense. And it has also, like, hair loss, often with women, associated with stress. And I do think that this has created an environment of stress within my body. And from a human design perspective, my head is connected straight down to my G center. And then I have this wide split between then my root and my emotional system. So it's kind of like I have energy islands that are existing separately. And that also to me represents that conflict. And I've just been feeding that conflict instead of learning how to work with them harmoniously. So we're going to see what happens with this. I'll allow myself to be a little experimentation. Obviously, it probably won't change like this, but I'm going to draw a lot of attention into trying to bridge these two together. And I share that because I feel like for you also, you've just experienced a great separation.
And you know what? That just like, first of all, hearing you say that, my body went up in goosebumps and I wanted to burst into tears. So take that like as you want to take it. Like that was my like physical reaction to what you just told me. And guys, like this is the first time I'm hearing this. Like we haven't even pre-spoke about this. I'm getting an update in real time. I wanted to burst into tears. In like, and it wasn't tears as in like sadness. It was like a recognition tears, you know? Um,
Mm.
oof. Yeah. I mean, and what another kind of whoa moment is your head's defined. And one of the biggest pieces with the head is as soon as a defined head tries to turn the pressure in on themselves, tries to work out the pressure within themselves, it is just a one-way ticket to stress town, you know? And then you're stressing and you're literally going to physically purge. And I mean, I lost like half my hair when I broke my jaw in my motorbike accident. Like, because again, conflict within, I just lost who I thought I was, you know, plus obviously the stress of 3 surgeries and whatever. But that makes so much sense. And like you said, yeah, like my partner left for Australia 2 weeks ago now. And this time around, it's been like solidified even more in our relationship. But also, we're really in talks now of leaving Bali. You know, like we're really gearing up to make that, you know, path towards Australia. And so that makes so much sense. And a few of our friends, right, have been going through this too. And I mean, if we look into theirs, like they're also experiencing similar themes.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
identities too, in general, you know, when we do this work, there's constant like death, rebirth, shedding.
Yes.
Ooh. I bet there's so many people listening to this being like, oh my God, you've just solved my problem. Maybe I'm going to try that, Rosemary.
I was talking to a close friend of mine last night, and same thing for her. And what she shared is things are going really well for her at work. She just got a promotion. She works for this incredible startup in, the health and wellness industry, working with functional mushrooms, like such a cool job. She loves her role, she loves her team, but she has no separation between work and life. She's always on. It's this like toxic startup culture in a way, right? Where people can access you at any time. Um, and there's no separation. And what does that lead to? Again, a stressful environment, a heightened nervous state. It affects our hormones. So many women, again, look at this and they stop right when they get to, oh, maybe I'm stressed, or I have a hormonal imbalance, or I need to take supplements. But you have to always go a step further. And I think this separation conflict is just game changing
Yeah.
because it can help point exactly to what that conflict in the body is. And then you still have to go and nourish your body, nourish your mind, do the practices, do the exercises to come back to homeostasis. But at least for me, I was like, I just feel so much lighter. And I had a conversation with this partner as well as I started to put this together. And I just told him, I was like, yeah, I've been calling you my Latin lover. And to have that received and to have him be like, oh, that's interesting. I've been calling you my future wife. And to be able to share like, oh, I'm still kind of afraid to fully energetically embodied commit to this because of my own shit and my own traumas that I guess I still am somewhat working on and working toward. And relationships are our greatest mirrors. I mean, this last year for you has been so profound. And I think that Ben has been such a catalyst for everything that you've gone through. And we'll talk obviously more about that. But that was healing in itself to be able to recognize, oh, there is a conflict within myself. How can I already start to work through this? How about I talk about it? How about I open up and use it as a tool to create more intimacy within that relationship and to have that received. And that was nothing I've ever experienced before. And
Yeah, I was going to say this, like that in itself is so healing for the system to even be like, I'm afraid, like to open yourself up in these relationships. And like you said, I've been calling you this. And he's like, yeah, but you're my future wife. And well, excuse me, what? You know? But like, even watching you go through this process, like, you've, like, seeing you, like, you've navigated this with so much grace, babe. Like, it's been amazing. But then you've also been, like, really open to receiving, like, that, oh, maybe this isn't what I expected, and maybe this is way more. And but you've also stayed so grounded through it all. And if there's one thing I've learned with Ben, like it's that it's like when something is like right. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's turbulent. Yes, like there's a lot of shit that comes up because it's a relationship and it's a mirror. But there's also this like underlying like safe feeling. Like I don't know really the word to explain it. It's like, oh yeah, like this is the opportunity for me to like really do some work here.
yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. Instead of it feeling like this chaotic conflict, make or break it, it's, hey, this is still challenging, but I also see this as an opportunity where we can both elevate ourselves and come together and that's how we grow. That's when we have the greatest kind of leaps in our evolution as individuals and as partners.
Absolutely. God, I still remember the moment that, like, with Ben, where I like had a breakthrough. Like, I still remember when I broke through a pattern. And this isn't even so much human design related, but like really speaking my truth, that really activated my throat, I guess. But we were in a restaurant, and I've got themes of like not abandonment, but fear of being like not chosen, let's say, and just being kind of like thrown to the side and just not being of highest interest anymore. And I would attract the same man, super interested for like 2 months, and then it would be all of a sudden, no interest, disappeared. I would then become really like in my masculine leaning, and the same thing would happen every single time. I would be like, what happened? And I would actually blame the man every single time. I'm always attracting these toxic men, la la la. But looking back, like, I was extremely in my masculine. And I remember when me and Ben met, I knew with it, because we spoke for 8 months before we met. So we really got to know each other. We went through, and it's funny because the way that I met Ben was Tinder, and I had this moment where I deleted all the apps because I was sick of it. I was like, right, I'll just never date in Bali, like, it's fine. And I just had this surge of energy one day that was like, download the app. And I responded and downloaded it. Ben, 33, England, and I'm like, what? English, And turns out 8 months later, we met, and it's been us ever since. But that moment where when we met, I knew it was going to be hard. Like, we didn't start off in the honeymoon phase. We didn't have that. And it's funny because I remember Ben being like, it shouldn't be this hard. Shouldn't be this hard. Like, we should be having fun right now. Like, we should be like madly in love right now. And we're not. We're fighting. We're picking at each other. We're bumping heads. We're getting frustrated. He's getting angry. He's a manifestor. I'm getting frustrated. We were in Ubud one day, and like, we were just like, it wasn't working. And we had these like massive kind of turbulent, not outbursts, but conversations back and forth. And I remember being in a restaurant just being like, if I don't say this now, this pattern's repeating. But if I do, then I'm risking also something I've never ever experienced before, which is to be extremely vulnerable and just like completely share my truth. And I was just like, I'm terrified of you leaving me. I'm terrified of this. I'm terrified. And he was just like, thank you. I know, thanks for letting me know. And I'm sat in this restaurant like, like bawling my eyes out. This guy's like, fucking hell, what have I signed up to? But looking at us now, and like how we navigate conflict. Like, last night we had a little conflict, and we got on the phone this morning, and it was like, we're just both laughing on the phone. We open the phone, and it's like, go on then. And that's how we do it. It's like, well, I feel this. He's like, okay, well, I feel this. I feel this. And it's become so healthy that I said to him the other day, I think those couples that you see that they're madly in love, you look at them and like, wow, how did they get there? They're just so in love, like 60 years old, just like super doting on each other. I was like, I think those are the couples that go through hell. And they keep choosing each other, and they keep working through it, and they find a way to communicate, and they make it work. And now they're the couple that nothing phases them. But many couples don't. Many people don't want to go through that. They don't want to go into the shitty moments. They just want, oh, well, it's not working. Let me go find like another kind of high to ride. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's funny because we operate out of our patterning. And when the conflict is arising, when we're at each other's heads, we're not operating from our true aligned like authenticity. We're operating from a wound. So it's not, again, that you guys were butting heads. It's that the part of you that was still afraid the younger version of you, right? Who did have conflict in her life or things that were really difficult to navigate, abandonment sort of experiences, or again, not being chosen. She was the one who was in the driver's seat, and she's the one who's pushing him away or causing a conflict, whatever, because at least then she's in control of the situation and can do what she needs to do to, at least, if it's going to happen, then I know it's coming.
The sabotage.
And at least then I'm in control of it this time. So when you can bring the voice to and identify, hey, this is what's really underneath the surface, it opens up this beautiful opportunity to meet each other like where you're really at. And sometimes the moment you, again, put words to it and identify it, it already diffuses, because you can already then see like, oh, but this isn't the reality. This is a wound. This is a pattern, right?
Yeah, I experienced this recently actually with him going to Australia. So Ben usually works in security and he's at sea. So he's away months at a time, but he's on a ship full of men. So, no worries in terms of like what he could be doing or up to. And I do have a pattern with not jealousy, but worry again, being somebody else being chosen over me, and him being out meeting somebody. And because that's happened in my past, I've been, in inverted commas, replaced in my brain. So I was like, I wonder what's going to happen when he gets to Australia. I don't know if this is going to come up, but it's a pattern that has in the past, and it's never come up with Ben because it's never had a chance to. But is this going to raise its head when he gets to Australia? Because now he's out in Australia, he's making friends, he's meeting new people. Like, it's that potential narrative could occur. And my head was like, okay, gear up, like, get ready. Because also don't, allow this to happen in a way that it just manifests in like, complete chaos. But I did say, like, and I let Ben know. And then about a week ago, I started to get it started with me messaging him a lot, like, what are you up to? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I could feel underneath that it wasn't me asking, like, what are you up to? It was, I want to know what you're doing so that I can, validate myself that, like, you're not out. God knows what. Like, what do I think this guy's even going to do? He's in Australia to, like, support our future family. And that's also like when you gain that mental awareness alongside with me understanding my design, like I have an open ego, self-worth, that's where I'm questioning, I'm not good enough, he'll choose someone else, blah, 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 open head, doubt, confusion, questions. And knowing that about myself, I'm like, right, you're going to create narratives that don't exist right now, communicate them. So we had a really healthy conversation. I was like, I know, like, this is so silly and it's so silly for me to say, but I'm feeling a little bit worried in my body that, like, you're gonna just forget about me and Australia's gonna be amazing and then I'm gonna be left behind. And he was like, do not be stupid. I'm literally only here to close the gap between the distance so that we can raise a family. Like, what are you even on? But at the same time was very validating, and like very loving. And it was straight away like, oh yeah, like he just replaced a complete layer of narrative with a new one that says, no, I choose you. Thank you for, like, you're not crazy, which was another thing. Like, oh, shut up. Like, stop talking about that. That's just silly. Instead, it's like, no, I see you. Thank you. Like, you're okay. I'll give you some extra reassurance this week. Like, how wonderful.
Yeah. And when we do that too, the emotion it diffuses. And it's true. It's like our reality does start to change where the feelings stop coming up. It's not like this thing that you always have to be experiencing in the background and you just, get used to it. Or maybe you just start like not giving energy to it. That's part of it. But it does get to a point when you have these conversations, when you look at the root cause, when you do what you need to do to heal the wounds, the actual feelings, the resistance, the fear, the anxiety, like that actually does dissipate, and that no longer becomes part of your story.
And it's been funny, like this time around, people have been saying to me, like, how are you doing with Ben gone? Like, obviously it's hard for you that he's gone again. And this time around, I've been like, honestly, like, I'm starting to miss him now. It's been 2 weeks and there's the physical, like, presence missing him. But I'm just so unconditionally in love and proud of this man and his journey that I'm like, I'm not counting the days right now. I'm like, wow, like he's doing the thing. I'm so proud. I'm so excited for him. He's experiencing this whole chapter. Like, and I'll go join him soon too. But also, like, I'm really starting to experience that we live our lives separately and we come together to benefit each other's lives. Never had that before. And it's a new feeling. And like, I sit with it sometimes of like, I'm actually okay. Like, I'm not just saying that, oh, I'm fine. No, like, and it's been funny that as soon as I felt that way, like, I've been creating, like, manifesting, generating new friendships in my life. Very wholesome friendships that I've been, like, really craving and desiring because I've been like, go, like, be free. And he's a manifester. Go in peace. And I'm going to go make my friends. And wow, and now those pieces
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's also one thing. So I would love to hear more about. I remember when, because it was right up around the time, shortly after we became friends, that I think you both started talking, but obviously weren't in Bali, and it was this unknown of okay, we're kind of developing this relationship, but we've never met. And then he came, and like you said, it was very challenging. And I remember one thing that you shared or that you were experiencing when you first came together was okay, this man is a manifester. That's first one huge thing to learn because manifestors are very, very, very different from the rest of us, right? It's kind of a league of their own. And what you also experienced was that he was very much operating from what seemed like the not self. Like he was a misaligned manifester. And you saw a lot of anger coming up. There was a lot of just things weren't flowing. And now I feel like there's been this huge transition. And now you're being able to witness the power of a manifester when they're living their design. So I would love to hear about that sort of
Like,
trajectory.
disclaimer, Ben is not like, he's not into human design. Like, he's very much open to human design, but I always describe him as like, he's a man, like, wants to get his hands dirty, ex-military, masculine man. And it's incredible to be around. But yeah, like, doesn't really dive into his design. But me knowing that, like, when we met, yeah, there was a lot of anger of, I mean, from both of us, like, that misalignment of like, we're not where we want to be. And that manifests differently for each type. But for him, yeah, it was, and he actually helped me understand the manifestor's anger. He was like, it's like a kettle. It will boil and it will boil and it will boil. And if I don't let it out, it will I'll get sick, and that is exactly what happens to the manifestor. It's very much connected to the heart, and you can literally burn yourself out to the point where you get physically sick, like heart attack kind of like problems, because that anger is so potent that if it's not released, where's it going? So it stays in the body and it literally festers. So he would have little like anger outbursts, and I'd be like, calm down, like over traffic or something, and I'd be like, calm down. What the hell is this? And I'm so open and energetically in tune that it would burn me, and I'd be like, oh, now I've got to breathe. And when he explained that to me, he was like, I just need to, like, sometimes I'll just like need to, or I need to go work out. And he works out, like, he's very consistent with his workouts because that's the medicine he needs to process the energy in his body. And he's like an energetic, like, he's got the solar plexus connected. So he has a lot of energy. There's a lot of channels that say he needs to move. But yeah, seeing that evolution, and it's been funny because, like, the masculine feminine polarity as well alongside this manifestor dynamic, it's been wonderful because I used to push on him a little bit of like, I need a man that's awakened. I need a man, because I thought that's what I wanted, right? When Ben is that, but in his own way. He is in integrity with absolutely everything that he says. You know, he's very much, I'm not going to give time of day to someone if they're not aligned with me. Like, he's very much in tune with the repelling aura piece. And if he repels someone, he doesn't give a shit. You know, he's like, whatever. Like, but when he is in someone's aura, I mean, you've met him, when he is in someone's aura, he's friendly and he's a softie, you know, but he's very much in tune with that. That's what I noticed. He doesn't care. Very independent, is also okay with not having a big group of people in his life. And that took me a while also to understand. I'm like, don't you want to go? Like, he's like, I'm good. Like, I'm actually.
And he's a 6'2", right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So his body is a hermit, and it's going to crave that.
And I think what
Yeah.
I've seen coming online that recently, and it's been I think it was like the past 6 months. So I noticed a change in just the way that he would communicate. Also, I remember him mentioning to me, like, I'm at work and the people I'm surrounded with, they're very negative. And he was really coming to terms with, like, I'm not this person anymore. I can't even engage with these people anymore. It's like a complete timeline shift. I was seeing it that way, obviously. Like, he probably wasn't seeing it that way. But the 6 is really starting to come through. That role model element of, I go to Ben for a lot of my, like, kind of insights. I'm like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this person? What about this? And I had a lot of conflict with my business recently where I was operating from conditioning and my not self. And I asked him about it, and he literally, it felt like this guru had just taken over Ben's body. And every word he was saying, it was like, nail on the head, nail on the head, nail on the head. And he was pulling from his experience, pulling from what he'd seen me experience and what I'm good at. And I was like, you've just literally given me the go to completely own these parts of me. And that's the 6 and the 2 merge, right? Because it's that, like, insight from the 2 when it, like, is activated, but the 6 of, like, and he said a few times to me, like, I'm older than you. I have experienced a little bit more here. And at first I was really triggered by that because my defined Ajna is like, no, like, I have my opinions. But that's something he also pulled up in me. He was like, you're very stuck in your opinions, aren't you? And, like, you don't really like to listen, and you don't really like to be wrong. And it was such a tough pill to swallow at first. But also, manifestors are initiators, and that's not just with action, it's trigger. It's, hey.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The initiation, it's impact. It's like you're getting hit by a car. What does that do? It's an impact. And then there's, from that impact, ripples are formed. So yeah, it's not always pleasant to be initiated and impacted by a manifestor, but it can be incredibly powerful. And how old is he?
No. Oh my God, he's going to kill me if he, if he listens to this. He's 36 this year. We had this conversation the other day, and I was like, yo.
Yeah, so he's still in the roof. But that's
I feel
beautiful.
like what I'm starting to see with line 6s as well is, like, that roof element. It starts to gestate more around that 35 piece, where it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, now I'm starting to figure out that, like, I can take what I need and, like, from these experiences and start to live through them. But yeah, it's been really amazing witnessing. And also, I have to remind myself, like, certain ways, like, I know there's the love languages and stuff like that, but I have noticed he moves differently to me in terms of giving and receiving love. You know, single definition, which in itself, receive and give love in different ways. You know, this was our conflict last night, actually. I was like, I miss you, over and over. I kept saying I missed him because for me, mine is words of affirmation. So me saying I miss you, I was like, I feel like I can't get enough feeling out in these words, like, so I just keep saying it. And he's like, haha, that's nice. And I'm like, what do you mean that's so insensitive? And he was like, B, I need to see you on the phone. Like, I give love in it. Like, I do this in a different way. Like, me showing up on the phone to you is giving you my attention, seeing you giving me your attention, but also not quite, like, I don't feel like he does see the way that I feel sometimes, because He's designed differently. He's single deaf. He's
Yeah.
got everything I need.
Yeah. Right. And that's I think what Ross says as well is like there's there's a level of intimacy that a manifestor almost mechanically will never get to simply in the way that they see and feel and experience the world around them. And I'm sure knowing that for you has probably just given you so much relief of, okay, we speak different languages. If we can learn each other's languages, then we can understand how we can still satisfy each other's needs instead of, again, he needs to change in order to like see you or da da da. Like,
absolutely. And yeah, and it has. And it's also been extremely healing for me because I noticed that I make a lot of stories about me. And, oh, this means that you don't love me. This means that you don't. And it's like, no, I just don't move the same way as you. Stop expecting and this is the defined ignorant play, right? Stop expecting everyone to be the same as you. Not everyone has the same opinions. Not everyone has the same thoughts as you. They don't think the same way, B. So can you see through a different lens right now? And that's been our biggest challenge, actually, because we're both Taurus as well. So it's like, don't like,
stubborn.
and more so me than him. Like honestly, like I'll hold my hands up there. It's fun. Like even recently, I was like, I feel like we switched roles. Like I'm now like the screaming child, and you're like the wise like guru. You know, like did we just switch? But yeah, I read in a book somewhere that really helped. They were like, this woman had a manifestor kid, and she was saying like, all my other kids give love so much differently. If I want to feel love from my manifestor child, I ask him to do something for me. I ask him to do a task. I'll ask him to unload the dishwasher. I'll ask him to come and help me with something. Get the groceries. And that's how I feel love from that manifestor. And it's the same with Ben. Like, he learned how to make coffee, and he doesn't drink coffee this time around, just so he could come into the room and give me my coffee while I was in bed. And it's been multiple things. Oh, so cute, I know.
But that is literally so cute.
And I'm just like, wow. And there's still part of me that's like, why would you want to do that for me? Like, I'm not like, that's not going to pass my mind to do that for you, but it's different for me the way that I express love. I'm going to go give you a big cuddle, but that's not how he needs love either. So understanding that, like, he's had to adapt more to, okay, we literally, like, this is really funny. We have moments where it's like, he's like, I can cuddle right now. And like, we'll have like this cuddle session. And then he's like, okay, like, I'm ready to be done with this.
I'm done now.
And he was really tired one night recently, and he was like, I think I could fall asleep cuddling tonight. And he's like, come on. And I'm like, oh my God. But at first I took that personally. I was like, why would you not want to like spoon? And he's like, I just don't want to. So imagine you're in a relationship with someone who this isn't about you. Doesn't mean they love you any less. But imagine forcing them into like doing something they absolutely hate. Well, it plants seeds of resentment. But understanding that, oh, actually they need that. And when you give them that, they blossom in so many other ways. You know, like Ben, for example, he has never not texted me in the morning since we first met, right? Every morning, every evening, he does so much. And it's from a place of like, I genuinely want to serve. I want to act. And also he's got the inform on point. Like the inform piece, like he lets me know what he's up to, when he's this, when he's that. And I feel it when he doesn't. Like it really is a thing when the manifestor doesn't inform. You're just like, what are they doing? Like what chaos they may be causing, you know? But it's a game changer. And like anyone who's listening, you know, if you're into human design, like pull up your partner's human design, because you very well could be with a manifestor, a reflector, like a projector. And if you're a generator, for example, like me, we operate very differently. Like even in our like relationship dynamic with our business has been such a blessing to understand about ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. And again, human design isn't here to tell you, oh, if you're a manifestor, you have to be with another manifestor because the other people don't understand you. No, it's about awareness, awareness of yourself, and then awareness of the people close around you. So you can just optimize. And at the end of the day, we all just want to be free to be ourselves. And when we can foster and facilitate those sort of environments, there's so much more harmony. We're so much better together when we can be in our own unique roles, right? Like Ben can be initiative and he can initiate you where you get a response. And when that response is there, the energy is there and it can be this beautiful dance. But we have to be correct in ourselves before anything else will ever make sense.
And I think that's where I really understand that now of like in any relationship, like when you give a person total freedom to be themselves, that's when things bloom. Like we're not here to control the other. We're not here to shape someone. Like when you let someone just do their thing and it's like, I love you, great. Like let's navigate these challenges as they come up. Let's learn more about each other. Let's accept these pieces of each other. It's magic. And like we are now just this like unstoppable duo. And it might not always make sense. And even this initiation piece, like recently and this has been this time around as well, I've been noticing patterns where I'll be stuck in my frustration and he's like, why don't you go take yourself for coffee at that shop that you like? And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So I go and then I think I got my coffee free that morning. I had like a massive breakthrough, like, and I was like, you just initiated that for me, like you got that urge for me and gave me that. So it's not even just for them. Like they can get these urges for other people, and it's all.
Yeah.
He's like, I always know what's good for you, don't I? And I'm like, you genuinely do though. Like, and when you put our charts together, we're fully single definition too. So the ad is gluing ourselves together because we don't need anyone else. But we have an open head, so it's really important for us to be inspired together, ask questions, and not just like keep ourselves stuck because we would gladly just like live in the house for like a month without seeing anybody else, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Fascinating.
it is like I really want to like dive into more of the relationship dynamics of human design at some point because it is like when you really see even when our charts were together, it was like, oh
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. And just so valuable. And it's just it gets rid of so much pressure and allows it's physics, it's chemistry. It's not this crazy out there concept. Like it's so actual, it's simple. It shows how we plug into one another. And when you know how you plug in, you know how to work with that energy. You know how you need to plug out. You know, you can figure out the balances that need to be made and drawn. And
have you experienced, I know that you guys obviously you spent some time together but then you had a distance, right? So have you experienced your
Mhm.
guys' desire, like have you seen that come up where you're like, ooh, that because, you know? Like
Say
have
that
you had
again.
any like breakthroughs where it's like, oh, I get that they communicate this way because of the way you communicate differently? Because what is manifesting generator?
Mm. He's a generator. He's a 4-6 generator and sacral. And there hasn't been any like stark aha moments because honestly, it's just everything has been easy. I don't know how else to explain it besides like harmonic. And I don't know if it's just like the love languages work really effectively, but there's just never been a point where I'm like, I need something that you're not giving me.
Which,
And
well,
that's a
yeah,
gift.
that's brilliant, you know?
And that's why then I get like turn it back onto myself. I'm like, Erin, what are you even doing? Getting so in your head, putting all this pressure on you about why it's not this or it's not that when you have what so many people would dream and desire and pray for.
And I also think it's really beautiful. And I mean, this is the experience I had with Ben too, right? It's like the distance. And I think it's really beautiful when you do have that element where things can't go 1,000 miles per hour because there's a distance. So the relationship gets nurtured in a completely different way. And that I find is actually like, I honestly think if me and Ben didn't have that at the beginning, we wouldn't be where we are. Because we,
I could not agree more. It's the only way. Think about it. For us emotional beings, what does that provide? Time. So if you find that that time and distance is only solidifying a connection when for so many in any other circumstance it would almost break it apart, then you know, then you have that clarity. Okay, this is right for me. This is aligned for me. Because for me also, if I'm with a generator, but really anyone, it's like the moment I get absorbed into their aura, I don't have that time anymore. I don't have, it's so much harder to discern what's mine and what's not mine. So I could have a beautiful experience with someone, and then kind of just, that's how I felt my last relationship almost was. It was like I was like taken into this hug and carried along into it, whether I wanted to or not. And he was sacral and ego defined, and he wanted it now. You know, he didn't want to wait for me to determine how I felt about it. And I, yeah, sort of did just kind of like get swept up into it. And this distance, I've also reflected on as well and been like, wow, I'm actually really grateful for this. Otherwise, I don't know that I ever would have been able to get the clarity that I needed. And it's just allowed me to anchor a lot more deeply into my design, into my authority.
and that's it with the emotional authority. It is clarity over time, clarity over time. And that time doesn't have to be months, it can be days, it could be a few hours with things like this. And I totally agree with you. Like every single time Ben goes away, it's stronger when he comes back. It's stronger when he comes back. And like we've had moments where we're like, oof, like can we continue? Like have we hit our, and it's got to the point now where it's like, and he's emotional too and has the same wave. So we're both tribal emotional. I'm I explain human design, but not through the lens of human. I'm like, so we have this, and it would be really good for us not to bottle things up because we'll ratchet and then we'll just like blah, and because that's been happening. So now we're like on the table, everything, and it makes such a difference understanding that about yourself, because you now know it's like this hasn't gone away. Like, and this is another thing with emotional authority. What I find, like, if I forget about something, it's gone, it's done. It's not like if I lose the interest, there's no spark with it. Like that's my clarity. Versus,
Exactly. Like you might get a sacral response in the moment, and then if it just fizzles out quickly, you know it's not actually right for you.
something that like this hasn't for you. Like it really has been so consistent.
Yeah.
But also,
It's been the opposite. And again, against everything that I thought and had told myself, which has been the course of this conflict. But I know that I have to listen to my authority, to my body, and my mind is not my source of truth. So for as much of the shit that's going on up there, I know I just have to
I
surrender.
think that's really like a big breakthrough for you. Like that's what's coming through intuitively, that you're getting so much evidence right now that you cannot work things out in your mind. And as soon as you do,
Yeah.
then it manifests as like literal physical reaction plus like just oil
Yeah.
that you don't experience.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So I do hope that my hair stops shedding. Um, so universe, I received the message. Please allow my hair to stay rooted in my scalp. That's what I've been meditating. I've just been picturing my hair follicles growing roots.
Yeah, like I'll just take a moment right now to say like a prayer for that.
And I'm like, you're safe. You're safe to stay. Thank you so much for being here.
To be a woman, I mean, I'm sure there's and a man, I'm sure there's many people.
Yeah. Yeah. To be a human. What a ride.
Maybe we
What a
can poll
trip.
on this. Like, are you shedding too? Things,
Are you experiencing hair loss?
thanks.
Yes or no?
Uh, awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope this provides some assurance to anyone listening, right? Or just some clarity around dynamics that they're experiencing within their relationships and how that they can optimize and just understand not only themselves but their partners better, because truly it's such a game changer and we've both experienced that, and I'm very grateful.
And I mean, I just want to say like one last thing for anyone who is listening and they're interested in like discovering, okay, what is my partner like? What, and maybe if you're new to human design, like, what am I? Just take a look at their type, their strategy, their authority. I wouldn't go digging into like, oh my god, what's this number mean? Oh my god, what are all these like different shapes and stuff? If you can understand their type, which means you'll know if they're a different auric type to you, the way their energy operates with the world, and then you can understand how they call in the right experiences and how they make decisions correctly, you can automatically treat them better. Like, I know that about Ben now. It allows me to allow him, and they're not self cues too, like their emotions. I can provide peace for him, which when we're like that with our partners, like, of course, we want to provide them with their alignment emotions versus triggering them into the not self. And so when you can cue in itself, like when I know he's in his anger, I'm like, okay, the guy needs peace. When I'm in my frustration, like, cool. So yeah, like, don't get ahead of yourself, but check out that because it will
Keep it
keep
simple.
it simple.
And also, like, if you aren't living correctly as yourself, nothing, like, you won't get anywhere. So always start with yourself, then go to the basics, understand the basics of your partner, of your family members, the friends in your life, and it all just comes down to strategy and authority always.
I was actually listening to another podcast today where I was like, yes, because I was listening to, it was a human design one, and the woman at the beginning she was talking about motivation, and she was like, but you know what, guys, like, start with it. And I was like, yes, like, this is finally being pushed. Start with the simple strategy, authority. Like, you do not need to worry about the rest because it will click everything else into place if you are correctly living that.
Yeah. But that's also the thing, is if you're not living strategy and authority, like living correctly through those tools, the rest of your design doesn't turn on. Your cognition, your motivation, all of those things, you can't even access what those pieces are here to do for you if you're not living first correctly as yourself.
Absolutely. So yeah, as always, whatever you found inspiring, feel free to take it, feel free to apply it. Whatever you haven't, leave it. It's not important. Take what you need, leave the rest. And thank you for being here with us.